High Horror Society, it's the High Horror Society, oh yeah. It's the High Horror Society, it's the High Horror.
Good evening and welcome to the High Horror Society, the new and improved live streaming High Horror Society with fancy graphics and all sorts of fun stuff. We are now moving into the 21st century. Slowly crawling our way there. So good evening, everybody. We are your hosts, Zach and Kyle.
Hello, everybody.
And this evening we watched 2017's Terrified, or Arturados on Shudder, and it was a Shudder exclusive, so that's the only place you can see it unless you download illegally, which you should not do.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So jumping right in, Shudder was directed by Damien Rugna. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, and if I messed that up, I apologize.
Sorry.
He was also the writer of the screenplay. The movie stars Ariel I'm going to butcher this. Ariel Chavarria, Maximiliano Goino, Gowan, I don't know, Gione, and Norberto Gonzalo. All of those people have been in a lot of movies. Let's see. Ariel Chavarria was in The Summit, Black Snow, and obviously Terrified. Maximiliano I'm not even going to try his last name. Maximiliano, he was in Ashes of Paradise and Monte Cristo. And Norbert Gonzalo was in El Azor, Fever Julia, and Mi Nombre es I don't even know. I'm terrible at this.
No,
I should have practiced most of this before.
Dude,
but
those names are hard, man.
They are. They're tough.
I was looking at them. I was like, ooh.
And Spanish and it's a Spanish movie. Well, it's actually from Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the dialect's a little different. I don't know.
I really don't. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not. I apologize. I am the most ignorant person on earth. So getting into the synopsis now and not my ignorance. I have a couple different breakdowns here, and so I'm going to read all three. And each one is better than the one before. Yeah, it gets more complicated, and I practiced before we started doing this, so here we go. Let's see how I do. Number one, when strange events occur in a neighborhood in Buenos Aires, a doctor specializing in the paranormal, her colleague, and an ex-police officer decide to investigate further. Not bad.
That's good.
Number two, Elbrick, Juno, and Rosenstock are researchers of paranormal phenomena. Commissioner Meza tries to give an explanation to the inexplicable events that are occurring in a neighborhood of Gran Buenos Aires. Together, they will try to reveal the mystery within the affected houses before the evil destroys the existence of human society as we know it.
Damn, that's long.
Yeah, that was a long one. Here's the next one, which is the longest one.
Oh,
this is going to be tough. Here we go. Strange paranormal events begin to happen. Deaths as bloody as they are inexplicable. People who disappear and dead who seem to return alone from the grave delineate a nightmare of fierce forcefulness. In the hands of Commissioner Funes, three researchers of extraordinary phenomena will try to unravel what is sensed as the intrusion of a dark and sinister world in an ordinary neighborhood of Greater Buenos Aires. So what do you think?
I like
that one the best.
I like the first one.
Really, the simple
one? Short, easy,
sweet. When strange events occur in a neighborhood in Buenos Aires, a doctor specializing in the paranormal, her colleague, and an ex-police officer decide to investigate further. Yeah, that sums it up. I guess in this instance, shorter is definitely better. But
shorter is better.
I like the long one. It probably because I did a decent job reading it back and I didn't completely butcher it.
I like it because I read it right.
All right.
Sounds good.
So fun facts.
Fun facts. We got banners.
Let's see.
Fun facts.
I love it. That is fantastic. That is
Been working
fun.
on that all day.
Yeah. You did a great job there. So a couple fun facts here. The director wrote the story in 2 weeks. It was based on a short film that he made a long time ago, and it took him 9 years to complete the financing for the film. So 2 weeks to write it, but 9 years to fund it.
9 years.
Yeah. So that's kind of a long time. And I wonder how much the movie kind of changed since then. He said it was based on a short film he made a long time ago, and I tried to find what it was based on, but I couldn't find anything. I'm sure a little bit more internet sleuthing will help me out. But I would love to see what the short film was.
Yeah.
But hey, 9 years to finance it, and I understand, man. It
9
was
years, yeah.
it showed. I mean, he definitely
True.
the money he spent was well spent for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. The director, he went on to say in this interview, he was able to film what was in the script. I'm sorry. He was able to film what the script requested and did not change anything except for the ending, which apparently he changed 15 days before shooting. So, yeah.
I wonder what the ending was that he had, because that ending was pretty good.
That ending was pretty good. I'm curious to see what the original ending was. And I tried to dive in and find more information about it. I wasn't able to find anything on what that ending was about. I really would like to check it out, and maybe if there's a script lying around somewhere, because it was, like Kyle said, the ending was pretty good, and endings they're tough.
They are.
Movies. They are. So I would, what compelled him to change it 15 days before shooting it?
Right.
Who knows? But hey, I would like to at least know what it was about. Another thing is, it's nice to hear that he got to make the film the way he wanted, probably because he financed it himself.
The whole
and
thing.
That's usually how it works. If you pony up the cash, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Control the whole project.
Yep, you can control the whole project from the ground up. So that's pretty awesome. And we've talked about this before, when creators are left to their passion, and they're able to really focus on it and do things the way that they need to, and really see their vision through. It shows in the work.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And this was another one of those for sure. It was one of those movies where you could sense the passion in it, and there was a lot of love that went into this film, and we'll obviously get into it more as we read on. As you can tell, we liked it. I liked it, at least.
Oh yeah, definitely. I liked it too. I liked it too.
And we always talk about how producers, or the money, always tends to get involved with these things, and they tend to make decisions for the directors and writers and the creative team. Because again, and some of those decisions are for the better, and some of them are for the worse. Most of the time it ends up being for the worse, and usually just to turn a quick dollar. But
pretty much, yeah.
So it's nice to know that he was able to make the film that he wanted to make, and again, he was able to do that because he made his own money.
Good job.
Good job.
Self-funded.
Good job. Yeah, self-funded. We're all about self-funded, as you can tell. The director has this to say about horror films. He said, I'm a fan of the genre since I was little. It's what I like to do, and where I want to explore, and I think I can contribute something.
Nice.
Yeah, and I can I can relate to that, because I've always loved horror movies as long as I can remember. I've always loved being scared, even as a little kid.
Oh yeah.
I tried to watch and sneak as many horror movies as I could. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and watch whatever was on HBO or Cinemax or what have you, or TBS or whatever was on. Late night movies, and I'd sit up terrified, afraid to fall asleep, but afraid to look away, and it was great.
It's captivating.
Yeah, some of my I have several nightmares about when I was a kid, at least, not anymore, but reoccurring nightmares with Freddy Krueger and Chucky. I had this dream where I would close my eyes, and when I closed my eyes, I would see through the eyes of Chucky, and I would see him on my street running.
Oh man!
And then I would see him
looking in your
window. I'd wake up and I'd be like, "Oh my God, what's that?" And then I'd close my eyes and I'd see him opening the door to my house. This was at 8 or 9 years old, so I was fucking scarred. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it would make a good little horror short. Hey, if anybody, that would be The Eyes of Chucky. Oh, that's a great title. Damn you, Kyle. Okay.
I copyright it.
Copyright it.
I patent it.
It's mine.
I own it.
Or more importantly, I would always have this reoccurring nightmare with Reagan from The Exorcist. I would always wake up the nightmare would go away. I'd wake up in my room and I'd hear this
pissing
breathing.
Noise?
No, I wouldn't hear the pissing noise, but I hear that breathing, and I would be so afraid, and I would look at the edge of my bed, and I would see her pouncing on my bed. I was.
It's just your brother.
It was just my brother.
Ryan.
Yeah, just snoring away. But no, it was terrifying, and
Dude, yeah.
I still even looking back at these movies today, there's still that little tinge of fear that occurs, and I think that's why we like it so much. Like we love to do it. So I can relate to this guy saying he loved horror since he was a little kid. I'm the same way, and it's kind of what it was actually a really big driving force in a lot of like things that I love and do in my life. Obviously, this podcast and so forth. So talking about horror movies that scared us, the director had a couple of things that he said inspired this movie.
Oh, cool.
Poltergeist.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, the classic, the original, not the remake. Oh, the remake. We should do like a joke episode on the remake. Have you seen it?
A long time ago. I have seen it.
Oh,
a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Whew. Anyway, so Poltergeist was one of the movies that inspired him. Also, The Entity. I keep seeing this movie pop up in my research.
Okay.
I've never seen it. It's from 1982. I've always wanted to watch it. I've always heard of it. Was one of those good classic movies. Maybe it's one we should seek out, see if we could find it on one of the streaming sites and pop it in for a High Horror Society review.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this is the perfect platform and opportunity to do that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Other films the director said inspired him: The Ring and Ju-on, which are the Japanese versions. Ju-on is obviously The Grudge in America. So, and again, I loved Poltergeist growing up. I haven't seen The Entity, but we will check it out, I promise. And then the funny thing about Poltergeist, though, like, again, here's this movie that like scarred me, not me, but my sister mostly, and mainly because my brother and I would like persist, like we would constantly like Ryan would get on the phone in the basement and like I'd be like, Katie, I'd be like, someone's on the phone for you. She'd be like, who is it? I'd be like, I don't know. Here. And I'd give her the phone and Ryan would be in the basement. He'd be like, it's me, Carol Ann, help me. And she'd freak out. It was so funny.
No wonder she doesn't trust you guys.
Yeah, but I guarantee that scarred her for life. That movie and me and Ryan torturing her. Yes.
She's probably looking back now.
Those motherfuckers. I can't believe it.
You son of a bitch.
But again, that's something she's always going to remember. That's something I'm always going to remember. Mm-hmm. These movies, whether they seem to have a negative impact at the time, you learn to love them later on. I think there's
Mine was Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary? Yeah.
Because me and my brother were watching it, and then he went somewhere, and then I ended up watching it by myself, and I ran upstairs. Dad, I don't want to watch this by myself. And he's like, I'm reading the newspaper. So then I had to go back down and finish it. And I was terrified.
Awesome.
But now I love that movie.
Yeah. And
like,
I bet you're
crap out of me.
I bet you're fucking looking forward to the remake too, right?
Definitely.
It looks pretty creepy.
Definitely.
And we should definitely do an episode on that when that comes out too.
We will.
So we're getting off topic again, but again, the Pet Sematary scarred you, Exorcist scarred me, Poltergeist scarred my sister. I'm sure many of you who are listening can relate.
Kind of the scarring videos you watched.
Yeah, let us know what scared the shit out of you when you were a kid. You know, what terrified you so much? Hit us up on the social media stuff and let us know, because we're lonely again as always. So anyway, again, getting off topic. So the director has a couple films in the works. One of them is called Snatch My Eyes.
Oh,
okay,
cool.
Yeah. And Terrified 2, believe it or not.
Oh
no!
I hope it's as good as the first one.
I hope so too.
Those remakes don't usually turn out too good.
Yeah, the sequels kind of, especially if it's rushed. I mean, this guy, he took 2 weeks to write it, but he took 9 years to finance it. So that was kind of a project in and of itself, and to say that it didn't go through any refinements either mentally or on paper would probably be lying, especially if it takes 9 years. It's almost a fucking decade.
After
right?
a year, he's probably like, I'm gonna go read that script again.
Yeah, just make some tweaks. Right. Like, yeah, maybe the story developed over 9 years when the script itself took 2 weeks from that story outline.
That's possible.
But again, there's always something like, and this kind of relates to music a lot too. You always hear this with like bands' sophomore albums usually weaker than their debut album.
Definitely, they have less time to write it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always a saying I always heard is like, you spend your lifetime writing your debut album and you spend a year writing your sophomore
Yeah,
album, like
pretty much.
and
yeah.
that's exactly what it is. You have your entire life to refine these songs and this sound and this idea and this story in an album, and then bam, you're big or you're famous or you catch a small break and you got to get back in the studio and put something out right away
Pretty
because
much,
it's
yeah.
so important to be relevant
yeah.
in front of people.
Keep it going.
And that's, if you don't do that, you're dead. And I just hope they don't make this mistake with the movie, because again, it was, I like this one. I would really like to see the sequel succeed, but maybe, who knows, maybe he had another idea for the sequel the whole time.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
this is just
9 years for the first one. Maybe he had the second one already
planned out,
up.
or maybe this is just part one of that series. We don't know.
True.
I didn't read up much on it, so
I didn't find any of that, but yeah, I mean, it seems still kind of fresh and new. There's not too much info.
So there was this list that I found of references, and this is kind of, I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to complain about this list because they're not necessarily references. It's just probably things that were just in the film because they were readily available.
All right.
So I'm going to read them to you. And you let me know if you think it's an actual reference to something or if it's just some bullshit that was in the movie because somebody was wearing it or whatever.
Some bullshit.
Yeah. So there's a reference apparently to City of the Living Dead from 1980. There's a scene there where the blood runs out of someone's eyes. So that sequence where the blood's running out of the eyes in this one, maybe. Okay.
I don't know.
Highlander. Someone compares their dog to the Highlander. Okay, I heard that part. It was about the dog who got hit by the car or whatever and survived. But again, how's that a reference? I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's not really a reference as much as a mention of a movie.
True.
I guess that's what a reference is, but by the definition of it, this one's a little more nitpicky for me. I'm being nitpicky about it. So apparently when they're looking in the kid's bedroom, you could see a doll of Finn from Adventure Time. Do you know what Adventure Time is?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So
how many times did they look in the
just
kids?
once.
Was
just
it
one
at
time.
the end?
Yeah, it was at the end. So it was just a
I'd
shot
have to
of
look
Finn.
back, yeah.
Again, I don't think it's a reference to anything. I just think it was just like, hey,
I saw this.
we need toys for this kid's room here. Fucking throw this on there.
Right.
It's Finn from Adventure Time. Another one that was exactly like that is apparently Baymax from Big Hero 6 is seen in the kid's bedroom again. Baymax is that big white marshmallow looking guy. You've seen Big Hero 6, right?
I don't think so.
Dude, really?
What is it?
It's a Disney movie.
Oh, okay.
It's based off a manga.
No.
It's good. You should check it out.
All
Big
right.
Hero 6. It's a good little flick. It's sad. Made me cry.
Oh, God.
Disney movies always make me cry so bad. Pixar too. The hell with you guys, man. Bringing up emotions and stuff. Can't stand it.
Can't stand it.
And then there was Justice League. Apparently, you could
Okay.
see a Justice League backpack. Again, it was probably just Justice League was a big movie in 2017. It was probably just the fact that it was a popular backpack, and that's what they had laying around.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a reference
You
to
got to
anything.
fill in with props and stuff. I don't
So,
think it's like...
The only two ones on that list that I would consider a reference are the blood scene, the blood's running out of the eyes,
Yeah.
and then someone comparing their dog to Highlander, and in terms of the dog is an immortal, just like the one of them Highlanders.
I don't even... What dog got hit by
It was one of the stories the guy was telling in the very beginning.
I remember
yeah, it
a
was
kid
just
getting hit
kind of
by a
like
car.
where they just like drop you in and they just were talking
Just
about
a little,
it. Mm-hmm.
a little story.
Yeah, a little story just to kind of introduce you to the characters. But the movie Terrified was released on May 3rd in 2018 in Argentina. And it was released in the U.S. on September 21st, 2018 at the Austin Fantastic Fest. Fantastic.
Nice.
The film had a limited premiere. Apparently, there was only 80 theaters across the country of Argentina that actually showed it.
Oh.
This was kind of weird because it got messed up in the translation from Google Translate, but
Okay.
I'm going to try to make sense of this. Achieving generally good. So anyway, the film had a limited premiere, achieving generally good numbers. In its first week in Argentine cinemas, the film managed to attract 10,000 spectators, thus achieving the top 10 of the most viewed. I'm not sure what that exactly means. I'm assuming it means it's in the top 10 movies of the week, just like we have the top 5 box office things.
Yeah.
and they must do it by spectators, not dollars. Like we do things by dollars. They do go by thousands of spectators, apparently. So opening weekend, 10,000 people went to see it. That's not bad. Not bad, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah. The film passed the barrier of 20,000 spectators and thus became the fourth most successful Argentine horror film of all time.
That's cool.
The film No Demiras, which translates to You Shall Not Sleep, premiered that same year, and that one is actually the most successful Argentine horror film to date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so maybe we'll check that one out too.
Yeah.
You Shall Not Sleep. It's got a cool title. And then the whole film's run, it accumulated 23,000 spectators. So I have no idea what that equates to in dollars for U.S., but 23,000 people is a lot. That'll fill a stadium.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not bad.
That's good.
So
Bravo
indeed.
Bravo.
Yes, most definitely. So that runs up the fun facts. You want to get into the awards next?
The awards?
Is that what we have next?
Soundtrack.
Oh, yes, the soundtrack. I'm
little
skipping ahead.
A
All right.
little soundtrack.
Go right ahead, my friend.
I did a little research. And I guess music producer for this film is Pablo Isola. I believe I said that right. He
sounded good.
He did some Shark Tank episodes, Bob's Burger episodes. He did a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie called Kill 'Em All.
Oh,
this guy he's done a good amount. He's doing more TV, I guess, now more than film prior.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's the information they had for him, and
nice.
Seems like he's doing pretty good for himself. So
not too bad.
Bravo, Pablo.
Yeah,
keep it up.
And the music and the score in this was really awesome.
Pretty good.
It played a vital part in the movie, and we'll get into it more when we talk about our thoughts.
He definitely had the right stuff in there.
And yeah, usually I fucking hate jump scares, but like this was done really well. Again, I always say this. We'll get into it, but yeah. So cool. That's good information on Bob's Burgers. Hey, not bad. I love that show.
Some good stuff.
And a Van Damme movie, Kill 'Em All, huh?
Yeah, I guess that came out last year.
No kidding.
That's what it said. I was like, I didn't know he's still doing movies.
We need to do like an action movie sequence, like series, like
that'd be cool.
Just like take a break from horror movies and just do like
a random.
Let's just do a Van Damme podcast.
Van Damme.
Break off for a while.
Van Damme, yeah.
Van Damme. I love it.
Van Damme, yeah.
All right, cool. So let's talk about some awards then. Let's see that graphic pop.
We popping the graphic for awards.
All right, cool. The people listening to the podcast are going to be like, what the hell are they doing?
That's why they got to go to the live stream on Facebook.
Yeah.
Try to do it at around 9:30 on Mondays. So
9:30 Monday nights.
Swing on by Facebook. Check us out.
And the podcast, obviously.
Well, of course that too. But
we love our Podbean listeners.
Of course. We love you guys.
Awards. Let's jump on one in.
Get it.
So this is it went through a couple film festivals, and I'm going to try my damnedest to pronounce all these names and these awards, and we'll see how I do.
Sweet.
So Festival of Mar del Plata. The date of the event was November 17th through the 26th of 2017, and it won the SAGAI award for Best Actress.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. And then Montevideo Fantastic Festival. That is an awesome name. Montevideo Fantastic Festival. From December 6th to the 13th, 2017. It won for Best Actor, Best Film, and Best Actress. Second place for Best Actress. And then Buenos Aires Red Blood. Ooh. That sounds like a drink that you'd order in a bar.
Red blood.
Yeah. Can I get a Buenos Aires Red Blood, please? Shaken, not stirred.
Oh
that was the Buenos Aires Red Blood Festival was November 30th to December 10th. Damn, that's a long festival.
Oh, yeah.
And I won Best Film, Best Actor, and Special Mention Soundtrack.
Nice.
Not bad.
Good job, Pablo.
Good job, Pablo. Kicking ass, dude. We love you.
Yes.
High Horror Society support all the way, man. So that was the awards. Now let's get into the Oopsie Daisies.
Oh, here we go. We gotta switch.
We gotta switch the banners up. So
no.
We were watching the movie and doing our damnedest trying to find Oopsie Daisies, and
Dude.
I was not able to find a single one. And I don't know if that was because I was so thoroughly entertained
True.
through everything,
Mhm.
and it was so tense, I wasn't paying attention. I'm sure if we go back and with multiple viewings, we could find stuff, but for the most part, I couldn't find shit that they fucked up, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought I saw a few, but now thinking about it, some of those shadows I saw were probably a part of the movie.
Yeah.
And it, because I'm just thinking about it now. I'm like, yeah, that shadow, that's a boy right there.
Mm-hmm.
But then the boy, I think, was supposed to be there, but they never showed the full scene. So like they cut out right when you see the shadow.
Yeah.
So I still can't think of anything.
Yeah,
So-
everything was very the movie. It took a very subtle approach to like hauntings and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like you said,
Oh,
like
yeah.
things you could almost miss. And I did miss a couple of things, and where I was like, oh shit, I can't believe I missed that. But it's definitely one of those movies that's gonna require multiple viewings. There's a lot going
Sure.
on. It's not like one of those ones where you like Memento or one Donnie Darko where you have to watch it 17 times in order to understand. No, it's you'll get it the first
You'll
fucking
get
time
it.
you watch it,
Yeah.
but it's a good movie. It's good enough to watch over and over again. And I have a feeling it's going to be one of those ones where you'll watch it and you'll see new things pop up every time that you didn't notice before.
Mhm.
But yeah, I couldn't find any fuck ups or oopsie daisies. And I looked online and I couldn't find a list of any either. So I don't know. Hey, I applaud you, Damian Rugna. You did a great job, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any screw ups,
Couldn't
and no
find
one
it.
else did either.
No.
I'm sure the internet will eventually find them and list them out for us. But hey, for right now, let's revel in the fact that you're okay and you did a good job.
Bravo again.
Bravissimo, yeah. So that covers our oopsie daisies. Now let's talk about the critical reviews.
Critical reviews.
I feel like we need little intro musics
I
now
know.
for all of these too. So I want that ready for next week, Kyle. Thank you.
Can I just like beatbox? And
Yes, yeah,
Critical review.
perfect. That'd be amazing.
Perfect.
Jesus Christ. Oh, we need a life. So,
Yes.
critical reviews. This movie has an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, it
So
does. That's huge.
that is huge.
That's awesome.
And it has a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. I was not able to find a Metacritic score. I didn't. It being a foreign film and being like an exclusive on just Shudder and only kind of running a few festivals here, there wasn't a lot in ways of reviews. Some of the reviews that I have are I had to translate the articles about them, so I am
yeah.
going to do my best in reading these to you.
It's all you.
The last one especially. I don't know. Well, the middle one's kind of funky too. So I don't know. We'll check it out. So anyway, the film is considered by many critics as one of the best horror films in recent years. That I can agree with.
I would agree.
The Todos Las Caritas website gave it 74 out of 100, according to 32 reviews. So the Todos Las Caritas, is that Rotten Tomatoes in Argentina? I don't know. It might be. Maybe that's what they just call it, and that's just how Google translated the article.
Maybe.
I don't know. If we weren't streaming, we'd be able to use our Wi-Fi and look it up. But
Yeah.
hey, we'll find out if the Todos Los Caritas is Rotten Tomatoes.
Somebody
then,
leave a comment so we know right
that's
away.
probably what it
I
is.
see
but
Laura, she's on here. Val,
Yeah,
let us
she can
know.
look it up. The critic in the newspaper, the critic Carlin Pablo O'Sholes assures the film is a plate, strong and well seasoned for the lovers of the sort.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. Now I'm not sure if something got lost in translation with that
sounds
one,
like a
but
love movie.
a plate strong and well seasoned for the lovers of the sort.
Well
So
seasoned.
I'm assuming that means if you like horror movies, then this is definitely your cup of tea.
Yeah,
and it
that
was.
makes sense.
Hmm.
When you say it like that,
Strong and well seasoned.
I'm hungry now.
Man, me too. I want a steak now. Jesus.
A strong
Thanks a
and
lot, Carlin
well-seasoned steak.
Pablo Scholes. Making me hungry. And then this other review, kind of more Let's see. Horatio Bernardes from the newspaper Pagia gave the film a 7 out of 10, saying the director uses the gore in a strict dramatic function without making it a festival in and of itself. Which I agree with.
Yeah,
the gore,
it's a good balance.
it was there, but it wasn't front and center.
No.
I would say it was more brutal than gory, especially
Yeah.
that first scene with the girl
Yeah.
in the shower.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty brutal.
It was more. It wasn't the blood that was getting me. It was the force of which
Right.
she was being like pummeled against the wall.
Yeah.
That was that. And the thudding noise, the wet thud of it against the tile. That's what made it so uncomfortable for me. But anyway, this gentleman went on to highlight the cast of actors as competent within the performances by Elvira, Norberto, and Augusta. Were the most acclaimed. And yeah, I think everyone did a great job in this. And I definitely agree that they do reserve some acclaim for their performance in this movie.
Definitely.
Yep. So those are all the reviews that I was able to muster up.
All right.
I'm sure there are more out there
somewhere,
but those are the good ones. I wasn't really able to find many negative ones. I didn't jump into the deep dive in Rotten Tomatoes and see. Usually I do because I like to keep a nice balance, but this was what the Wikipedia article had readily available. So that just means it's damn good.
Yeah, I know. Can't really find too many negative things on this movie.
Yeah.
So got me excited to watch it.
Shall we get into the High Horror Society thoughts?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Now, let's see. Do we have a banner for High Horror Society thoughts too?
No.
We don't?
Darn it.
Damn
Should have created one.
It's all right. Next week.
Come by next week.
We're critics, right?
We're critics.
That's
why
essentially what
here,
we're doing.
right?
We don't get paid
We're
at
like
all.
Jay Sherman, the critic.
Jay Sherman.
Buy my book.
Yeah, I'm Jay Sherman. Watch me play the trumpet on my belly.
I love that intro when him and his son are in the zoo, and like him and his son are like pandas.
Yes.
And they both look at each other.
And they like give each other a nod, like, "Yo, brother, what's up?"
Oh my god!
It is a great show. The
love
Critic
that
is
show.
very underrated. I love that show. Oh
The
Jesus!
Simpsons. Some of the Simpsons writers helped that too.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
They did a crossover episode. I remember. That was
they
a
did
good
a few
one.
with Homer and Jay Sherman.
Yeah. Jesus, that was great.
He was a critic on The Simpsons too.
Yeah. So we're critics, like
We're
Jay
critics.
Sherman. Yeah. Either way, who wants to go first?
You can go first.
I can go first this time. All right.
Yep.
So, I heard a little bit about this movie before we watched it. Like I said last week, I recently signed up for Shudder, and I this movie and Mandy, which is coming out next week, were part of the reason which prompted me to sign up for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I wanted to watch those so bad. So I read a little bit about it. I knew we were going to do it for the podcast, so I purposely stayed away from. I watched a trailer for it, but I tried to stay away from reviews and stuff outside of the little research that I did for this movie. And because I wanted to go in completely blind, because I had heard a lot of good things about it. And when I hear things like that about movies, I want to go in as blind as I possibly can. That way, nothing's influencing my opinion either way.
For sure.
And this is definitely one of those movies you should do that with. So first and foremost, I'm probably going to get into some spoilers here. If we haven't already, I try to keep the list kind of clean, but this is going to be kind of a spoiler-ridden review on my part. But so if you haven't watched it, please go watch it and turn us off right now, and then or skip ahead like 3 minutes and listen to the end. But I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna give this movie a solid 9 out of 10, and the reason why is just it frightened me. There were parts of it that it made me uncomfortable.
Those jumps. Scenes were
there was something about the characters being so calm and collected, the paranormal researchers, when they were investigating and the things were happening, that was so unsettling, because it's like, here I am kind of like freaking out, like, did that clock just move? Like, why is that thing flying around? And then they're just sitting there like, playing with their little tools and stuff. Shit's flying around and climbing the walls, and they're just, and the cop is there like, what the hell's going on? Like freaking out himself, like I would. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was getting at. Like, we are the cop in that situation, and it was unsettling to see them not give a shit, and some of them excited that these things were escalating.
Right.
Like, because we know as the viewer what happens when this escalates, because we've seen it happen to the girl and the story about the gentleman before. So we understand what this entails, and we know what's in store for the cop in these three. But so it's terrifying in that you know where it's going, and they're excited for it. So that was unsettling to me, and that's what really got me the most. And again, the scene in the beginning with the girl in the shower just repeatedly being smashed.
The creepiest.
That was so creepy. Like
what a beginning.
Yeah, that was a great beginning, right?
crap.
The guy originally, getting up and thinking it's his neighbor making those noises, and then
you think too, like, oh yeah, his neighbor must be remodeling.
Because that's what it sounds like.
What else?
It's not until he's walking by the hallway that he's like, "What the hell is that?" And man, what a great little scene, and him trying to pull her down and pin her against the wall, and the thing just taking her head and just repeatedly. It was just like you felt so helpless, because you felt what that guy felt. Like there was just nothing he can do except just let go and watch this happen, because there's no amount of strength was going to stop this from tearing her apart, literally.
It had to keep going at least like 50 times from when you first hear it to when he's like outside yelling at his neighbor.
Right, yeah.
And then he goes back inside, like just back and forth.
Man, it was really brutal. If you're easily disturbed, that scene fucked me up. That was awesome. I loved it.
Some PTSD from that one.
And then the whole sequence with the little boy, whoa, that was so freaky. And you know how the detective, the forensics guy came in. He's just like, no, yeah.
He's like right in his
face. What do you want, kid? What are you doing
putting
here?
Putting the spoon under his nose. See if he's breathing.
It was disturbing, and it was very subtle. Again, that was another thing I want to talk about, is that I love subtle haunted house movies, and this movie has a little bit of subtlety to it in certain scenes that, like we were talking about, like you might even miss it, if you're not really paying attention.
For sure.
And then it gets to like this crescendo of just like craziness where things are just going off and constantly just like a steamroller, just boom, boom,
just
going and from house to house to house, because this takes place in 3 houses. Each of these paranormal investigators, we should probably tell them the story of the fucking movie. So basically, we gave you the synopsis, but basically what happens is a gentleman's wife is murdered by this ghost. He obviously gets blamed for it. He goes to the psych ward. 3 paranormal investigators come who have kind of pieced together things from stories in this neighborhood, and they want to investigate the house. So the 3 of them go into this neighborhood. There's 3 houses and 3 of them. They each go into a house, and there's a detective there that's helping them. He's
about to retire.
2 months or 2 weeks from retirement.
Something like that, yeah.
He has a heart condition. He's got a hearing problem and stuff like that. And, he just wants to get away with a clean record. And here is this trio of haunted houses that is really fucking up his career. So he's trying to keep things on the DL and solve this, but things are just too weird. Obviously, there's a murder. Little boys' bodies are showing up out of the ground, clawing their way out with bloody fingers, and there's just so much craziness that occurred. So that's the basic rundown of the movie. And by the time you get to the 3rd act, things are just like going crazy the entire time. It's just one thing after another, and it takes this little break too. The detective leaves and like gives us a breather.
Yeah.
Because it's like I think it kind of felt like we needed that, because I felt like pressure and that's everything together, the acting and the music, the music was great. Again, we talked a little bit about it, but just the build up that the music had. And again, this is another one of those movies, and we've talked about this before, where the music is almost more important than like what's going on the screen, like that driving fear, like it gets guttural, it gets you deep down, and that's what this movie does too. It's just those low bass tones
rumbles,
that you feel it in your feet.
The head, especially with the subwoofer I have. It was
great. It was awesome. But all these little pieces all come together and they play so well. So they, I kind of jumped around in my review a little bit there, but I would definitely say this is a solid 9 out of 10. If you're if you love haunted house movies, this is probably one of the better ones I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
It's not afraid to go further than what we've already seen with the Paranormal Activity movies and
True.
stuff like that. You know, it's kind of silly. It kind of does the little, like I said, like these crazy things are going on and the actors are just like, oh yeah, whatever. And it's funny in that regard, but it's more of a funny like, oh man, I would get the fuck out of there.
Why are you still there?
Why are you still there? Like, you see this thing under the bed. You're super excited about it. It's
Hey,
like clawing
look from
you.
over
Like,
here.
check this out. It just stabbed you in the fucking hand with a knife in the kitchen. Like,
Oh,
and you're
God.
like, oh,
Don't
look at how
shoot
awesome
it.
this is. It's just, again, damn you, Rosenstock, you excited bastard.
Damn you.
But yeah, I would say solid 9 out of 10. If you love haunted house movies, this isn't one of those like demons from
No.
possessed like The Conjuring or weird what am I trying to get at here? Old school haunted house type of horror movies. This
Yeah.
isn't it. This was a little bit different. The
definitely
explanation, they
was.
never really explain to you what's going on. They
True.
just kind of hint and allude to it.
There's a lot of mind fuck. going
Yeah,
on.
there
That's-
is.
That's why
Mhm.
it got me.
And they
It's
even
like,
talk
ooh.
about that in the movie, how like don't believe everything that you're seeing
Oh, true.
here.
Yeah.
So again, 9 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed this one. I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I say bravo. I give it
Bravo.
a 10 out of 10.
Whoa!
Because-
big shocker there.
Because the category it's in.
Yeah.
It's in one of those mind fuck, like you said, haunted house kind of movies.
Right.
And it seemed to have everything for me. It actually did scare me some parts.
Yeah, I
Those
know.
jump scenes, the ending was great. The beginning was crazy. And That
Mhm.
definitely got my attention right away. It was that girl's face smashing in the wall
Oof.
1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then that kid, and then everything else in between there. Like it was very well put together.
Yeah.
And that's why it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the pace of the movie was really well done. Like it I talked a little bit about that, how it like would escalate a little bit and then like it
Yeah.
gave us a little bit
Roller
of a break and then it would
coaster.
come down
Oof.
and then like each time it would kind of go a little bit more and more. I thought that played really well to the way this movie was
And
put together.
It
And
seemed the dialogue was good too.
Mhm.
Reading the whatever it's called, the
Subtitles.
Subtitles.
Mhm.
It wasn't too hard. It wasn't like lost. Like, oh crap! Like, what do you say there? And like, I could follow the story with the subtitles. And
Yeah.
it was
The
good.
subtitles fucked up a little bit here and
Did
there.
they?
They said a couple words that were wrong. I was like, the hell are they trying to say? But
Just oopsie
again,
daisy, we got one.
there you go. I don't know if we can blame that on the
No.
movie or Shudder, but
It's
either
probably
way,
Shudder, yeah.
probably. But yeah, you're right. Like even with the fuck ups with the subtitles, even though I don't speak Spanish, I could still. You got the gist of it, like
Yeah.
just listening to it. And again,
Mhm.
that's speaks volumes about the actors and actresses in the movie
True.
who can convey that message with body language and emotion, which I might not even understand the language completely, but I understand what they're explaining and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the tone of which they're explaining it.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was another great part. So 10 out of 10 for Kyle,
10 out of 10.
9 out of 10 for Zach. Go check out
Go.
Terrified or
Go now.
what was it? Arturados.
Arturados.
If you're looking for the Spanish name of it, that's where I found it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's what showed up
Arturados.
the most is Arturados.
Arturados. And then look out for Arturados 2,
Ooh.
hopefully coming soon.
Dos.
And yeah, so that was our final thoughts on High Horror Society. 9 out of 10 for Zach.
10 out of 10 for Kyle.
And don't forget to check us out on social media again.
All of
Hit us
them,
up.
all
Tell
of
us
them.
what did we say earlier? What scared the shit out of you as a kid?
Yeah, what horror movie? Let us know why.
What scarred you for
and-
life and why?
And we'd love to maybe watch it if we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let
most
us know.
definitely. I
Yeah,
want to see what
Sure.
frightens you for sure.
definitely.
Cool. All right. Yeah, check us out on social media. What is it? High Horror Society
Podbean,
on Podbean,
iTunes,
Twitter,
Spotify,
iTunes, Spotify, all those fun
YouTube, all
things.
that
YouTube.
stuff.
We're around.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. We're worldwide.
Worldwide.
Thanks,
Worldwide.
everybody. Have a good night.
Peace.
It's the High Horror Society.